All right. Well, first of all, nice to have you live back here in Finland.
Of course.
Coming only for the podcast, right? So welcome for all the viewers here. This is the second edition of the strongest GTM podcast. And a lot has happened since we last spoke.
Yeah.
When was the first discussion we had? I think it was
December, probably.
December, yeah. So we're kind of 3 months from the first discussion we have, and it feels like an eternity, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
And basically what I was thinking for today is because, I mean, for most viewers that we have, I would assume that they're not looking at the GTM landscape from the same view, the same perspective we are. So it's kind of very hard to be on point in a way that there's so many things happening on a constant basis that you can get lost in the noise. And maybe today what we can do is kind of take a look at the changes that have been happening and then summarize what have been the biggest ones. How are we at strongest using those changes to our advantage, and what will the future hold?
For sure. Let's get the things rolling.
Okay, perfect. So what do you think since November or since December? What has been the biggest change in the world of GTM?
2 words. Claude Code.
Claude Code?
Yes.
Amazing. Okay.
I would really want to hop on Claude Code straight away. And as a lot of people might heard about it, I'm pretty sure a lot of even agencies don't leverage it yet. So we could definitely discuss for some time about Claude Code, how we've been leveraging it, and what sort of the future of, let's say, prompting inside a terminal and getting really nice outputs.
Yeah, I think that's a very good starting point. But before we go there, I actually want to go through something that we were talking last time, because Claude Code, in the end, it's about the utilization of AI.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of using Claude and AI to become more efficient in whatever you are doing. And when we had the last discussion, we talked about using AI.
Yeah.
And our thesis at that moment was that it might be overutilized in some cases.
Yeah.
So what, are we taking back our first hypothesis and now doubling down on something else? Or what do you think?
Ooh, yeah. Actually, now I'm thinking that over 80% of our work is done by AI. I would say orchestrated at least. Like each day we're coming up with so many cool workflows that we do. So I would say probably our take on over usage of AI might be wrong. Like there is no way you can overuse it.
Yeah. So basically many people, they often tend to double down on their ideas, but we have done like a 180 change in direction. Basically, we are really, really doubling down on the usage of AI.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we have kind of replaced every single aspect of the GTM function, but we definitely want to use it as much as possible for most tasks. So to start it off, let's start with the Claude Code. So
for sure.
Because you were the champion of starting to use Claude Code at our company, so maybe you can go through, like, first of all, like, what is Claude Code kind of in the GTM world?
Yeah.
What are the use cases that we have built around it? And maybe just you can give some pointers for people that are just starting out with Claude Code. Like, what should they focus on when they start building so they can get a leap in the usage?
Yeah, for sure. So basically, Claude Code is just some sort of like coding agent, I would say, which you can basically run locally from your PC. So you just download like 2 lines of script, you install it on your PC, and you're able to build really nice, I don't know, applications and like whatever you basically want by leveraging the AI, which is being prompted in a way that it makes as few mistakes as possible while coding you really nice solutions. So you can imagine it's like a context window, like a ChatGPT or like Claude, but instead of giving you, I don't know, some information or answer, it just writes code and creates the interface or backend, whatever you're looking for. So that's what we've been doing basically at strongest group. We've been leveraging Claude Code to build applications and processes which would run automatically without us needing to overlook the whole process.
Okay, interesting. So can you give me some, now you were throwing around words like processes and applications. Let's go into something concrete. So since you have started using Claude Code, what processes have changed and how?
Yeah.
And what are the parts of the GTM work that we are now producing using Claude Code?
Yeah, well, we also, during our last podcast, we discussed Clay as the, let's say, operational system of the GTM. I would still say it's the case. It would be still pretty hard to kind of replace it.
Mm-hmm.
However, what's important is that you can now get many more features by leveraging Claude Code. For example, one of the best use cases I found so far is that by using Claude Code, you can build custom scrapers.
Okay.
Which is a big thing. For example, you have a list of exhibitors which are going to some like trade show or something.
Yeah.
You can easily just type out to Claude Code, I want you to go on this website, click on the exhibitor's profile, each of those, and for example, find their email address, website, phone data, address, etc., like whatever you need.
So basically, this is one use case of Claude Code. So you build a agent to use as a lead list builder. So you can scrape specific databases to get more lead data or whatever you're looking from a specific website.
Exactly. And you don't need to know how to set up the API keys, how to make sure, for example, that the scraper knows what to do. You don't need to write pretty much everything. You just give a task and Claude Code figures it out on its own. So it writes the whole code. It creates the scraper from like ground zero. And then you just, I don't know, sipping some coffee, doing other tasks. And then suddenly you get notification. You have a CSV file with all of the exhibitors in the, like, already scraped, basically.
That is an amazing use case. I remember back when we had our last discussion, and then we were also scraping these databases, but we were many times contracting people from Fiverr or these freelancing solutions to scrape them for us.
Exactly.
And they were like Python experts or whatever kind of people they were. Now we can just basically do it ourselves, much more quick, without having any discussions with external people. We just build it and we scrape.
Yeah, basically, that's the use case. And also for one of our clients, for example, people who are in e-com, they might know this big conference called Shop Talk. And in Shop Talk, it's not like a public list of exhibitors or attendees you can see. It's more that you log into the platform.
Yeah.
And then only for a short period of time, you can put the filters and find the people you want to connect with.
Okay.
So there is definitely a blockage because you need to log in order to access the platform, right? Yeah. But what Claude Code came up with, it told me exactly which apps I need to download. One of them was, if I'm checking here, it was Cookie Editor.
Okay.
So basically, I put all of the filters which I wanted to, for example, the marketing roles located in the US, and then the cookie editor was able to capture the code of the website. Then I sent it to Claude Code, and it was able to scrape all of the 400 attendees which I was looking for.
Amazing.
Yeah, this is like crazy. I would say this is crazy level.
Okay, let's take a step back. So basically, what we've been leveraging Claude Code for. Let's start from the start of the onboarding of a client until actually leveraging Claude Code as a way to launch more campaigns with a higher frequency.
Yeah.
Let's just go through this whole funnel and just give a very concrete example, step by step, how we can leverage Claude Code. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, the very first automation which me and Harri built was the automation of the onboarding process. So as soon as the client comes into our Slack channel, we start pretty much automating the whole stuff, and the process kind of it rolls out in a way.
Yeah.
So the very first thing which we want to do is we want to create an onboarding document.
Yeah.
In order to do this correctly, what we do, we create a client folder on our, for example, GitHub. That's where we have our code host it.
Yeah.
Then basically we run 3 agents in parallel, which are going through the whole web and finding relevant data points which we might leverage into the onboarding form.
Yeah.
So one of those is the analysis of the industry. The second one, I believe, is the competitor landscape. And the third one, I don't remember, something about like the future predictions, basically.
Yeah. And also one thing that we also sometimes add there are the transcriptions of the sales calls we had with that client pre them signing the document, because those also have quite relevant details that we need to consider in the actual onboarding form.
Exactly, right? Exactly. And so basically when it's done, Claude kind of transforms the information into a very concrete steps for the onboarding form. Mm-hmm. So basically we ask them, of course, we start with the basic info, like who is the person being like responsible for this project. Then we ask about sending infrastructure, on whose behalf are we going to send those emails. Can you give us the DNC list, like do not contact list, so we don't target your current pipeline? And then we go with some more in-depth question about their offers, the ICPs. And it's not something simple as like, who is your ICP? But it's more curated based on the deep research that we've done.
Yeah.
Quite often we are getting the feedback from the clients that the onboarding form made them sort of rethink their business.
Yeah, that's true. Like one of the big things we get from clients is actually them forcing them to think about their clients, right? So forcing them to think about who their ideal customers are, what makes them an ideal customer, what are the pain points, the value propositions for every single decision maker that they might have, right?
Yeah.
Then we're also asking a lot about kind of when they have inbound leads coming in, what are the things that have happened inside the company so that companies want to get in touch with our clients, right?
Exactly.
And those can work as signals for us to know who to reach out to, right? Just back engineering the inbound flow and doing outbound to similar kind of companies.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, that is indeed something that we have been able to make so much more efficient.
Yeah.
So once the AI model basically has done the deep research on the company, it has created this onboarding form. It goes automatically to Typeform.
Yeah.
And we have an AI agent that goes into Slack and inserts a link with a text for the client to actually go and fill the document. And once the Typeform has come back, what happens next?
Yeah, that's the most interesting part and something I'm really excited about, because we've been able to create our like copy and offer Bibles. So basically, Claude has now a database of our best performing campaigns and offers.
Yeah.
And basically, what it does after the onboarding form has been filled up, it goes and cooks some really sick outbound campaigns.
Nice.
Which means that with like, I don't know, without lifting a finger, we get, I would say, 80 to 90% copy done. And it is able to master and nail down the offers pretty well.
Yeah, amazing. Also, but before that, actually, one of the outcomes of the client filling out the type form, the ICP form, is that we create this kind of a golden ICP document, right?
Yeah.
And that is kind of one source of truth that we then fill or give to the next agent built with Claude for building the actual GTM strategy, the campaigns, the offers, and so on. Because of course, the client has spent a lot of time filling out the ICP form. We want to give them a very detailed document summary of what their ICP is for future use cases.
Definitely.
Okay, so now what we've built with Claude Code is basically enhancing the onboarding.
Yeah.
Crafting a ICP document, crafting actual GTM strategies, including campaigns and offers. What else have we done? For example, tell me how does our actual infrastructure building look like?
Yeah, so this is also something which I've been building this week while being here in Helsinki. And I was honestly amazed. First of all, thanks to our good partners from Salesforce.
Yeah.
Because in the PrimeForge, they have really amazing API key. And the documentation in general is very detailed.
Yeah.
So what I was able to crack is pretty much I could feed even the onboarding form with the information about the sending accounts.
Yeah.
And it could build the entire infrastructure without me having to sit and do this manually and click and create like sending accounts, etc.
To what extent can Claude Code and Salesforce or PrimeForge do this? Can it do the infrastructure building from end to end, or what does it look like?
It can do it end to end. So basically, so far the process has been is that I send it the information about sending names, their signatures, profile pictures. It just confirms it. I press go ahead, and then I don't do anything. I only see the accounts being set up. They're automatically being pushed to the warm up tool, so the inboxes can warm up.
Yeah.
And basically, I don't have to do anything now.
That is amazing. I bet that saves a lot of time.
Yeah, so I would say on average, it would take me around 40 minutes to set up infrastructure. Now it's max 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, that is a very specific use case.
Yeah, even right now, I have the Claude Code open. It has just set up like some additional infrastructure for our existing clients. So
amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, nice. So first of all, we need to give a huge shout out to Salesforce, Frank, the whole team for enabling this.
Yeah.
And also this is just for all the other kind of other potential solutions that agencies are looking for when looking for kind of tools, is that they really need to have good API documentation. They need to have good integrations, because if those are not done properly, it serves as a kind of huge block for us, like a bottleneck. But if we can integrate all of these tools, the sending infrastructure, like Typeform, project management tools, all into one system, it just becomes like a superpower, right?
Definitely.
And that is something we need to give huge thanks for Frank and Salesforce.
Definitely, because not all of the tools have really nice sort of features. Because I was testing out some other tools, and the problem was Claude Code basically told me there is like, I hit the wall and I cannot pass it because the API documentation doesn't allow to do this particular step.
Okay. All right. So now we've already talked about kind of onboarding, infrastructure setup. What about like actual campaigns? What do you see happening now in building campaigns for clients? And what do you think is going to happen next in that segment?
Yeah, so basically, I even posted it on LinkedIn. Again, coming back to our previous podcast, we were discussing that messages which do not sound like AI, like human-like messages, will win. That's true. But you can also leverage, and we are doing this, leverage AI to scale the human-like messages across all of your clients, which means that we don't focus, let's say, on just speed to campaign, which is of course important, but also to preserve the quality of the message.
Yeah. One thing that I would kind of from a automation and efficiency standpoint is that what I see happening next is that we will be able to push ready-made campaigns within days of onboarding a client, basically. And the reason is because we have automatized the onboarding. We have already the offer Bibles, the campaign strategies, all of it is basically preset. So the work we have to do is kind of quality control and adding some spice, some creativity.
Yeah.
But in the end, let's say in a few weeks from now, we will be able to push straight from Claude Code these campaigns into live for our clients, including all the steps for omnichannel approach, including pushing the leads there with spin tags and variables. Everything can be pushed straight into the system. And now going to the kind of final piece, which is actually very important, is the data aspect.
Yeah.
So what we want to do for clients and what most agencies want to do is push a lot of campaigns out to test different angles, different value propositions for different decision makers to see what sticks, where it's sticking, and so on. And that is kind of a data optimization process.
Yep.
We want to get a lot of volume so that we can see what is working, right, from the data. However, one thing that we can do, and we have already done with some clients, is to use the API connections with infrastructure tools to pull out all the campaigns across all the decision makers on a message level and track what are the reply rates, how many of those replies actually lead to interest or meetings booked, and use that as a automatic feedback loop for future campaign creation, right?
Yeah.
So what we can now do is actually take the data gathering, the analysis and improvement upon that data with Claude Code and just create like a monster of a machine. Like,
well, that's very true. Good way to put it.
yeah, it's absolutely crazy what AI has enabled during the kind of last months. And one thing to add also, which is important, is kind of the reporting. Kind of reporting is very important for many clients.
Yeah.
Independent of the results that you're getting, there's always value in the data, right? And if we can give automatic data dumps to clients in terms of reporting, like how many campaigns are live, how many messages have been sent, what is the interest rate, and so on, it is like gold for many clients.
Definitely. So if you are building the agency, you definitely want to have the visibility for your clients. That's very important. So that's why if there is a way to automate it, I mean, there is, of course.
Yeah.
You need to do it because quite often we see that the clients, again, appreciate if you are being transparent about what's happening and they can see the clear numbers. So it also sort of adds predictability to their investment. So they see, for example, we sent 1,000 emails this week. We got 10 positive responses and we booked 4 calls out of this. Okay, so then we can make a healthy assumption that if we double the amount of emails sent next week, we could maybe get 8 calls.
Yeah.
And so this would also equal to X sales made.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's very important that you have the sort of visibility and dashboards with the statistics for the clients.
Amazing. What are you most excited about building next using Claude Code? Is there something in your mind that you want to improve or something that you see as valuable?
I would say maybe like a custom client portal would be nice and actually get as many different statistics as possible. What I would also, for example, want to do is to figure out a way where we could calculate speed to lead.
Yeah.
Basically, so how quickly the client is responding to the interested replies which we generate. So I would want to have 5 key metrics which we are going to track. Mm-hmm. And basically, some of those would be on our end, some of those on client's end. And so we could improve really, really fast and we could focus on the like needle movers, basically.
Do you think that this could be built in Claude Code?
Yeah, for sure. We just need to figure out a way where to host it. Like there are tools like Supabase, for example, where we can just host the whole code. We can create a really nice visuals so the clients also enjoy it. And I think this would be a great addition. Yeah. Besides the sending what we're building right now to ship the campaigns faster, as we discussed. So I'm focusing on building the process where we can launch campaigns directly from Claude Code.
Amazing. That will be something nice to see.
Excited.
Okay, but all of this kind of sounds like very nice and it sounds awesome. But many people are probably thinking like, hey, this sounds like a lot of work. Like this sounds like a big task to build. And it's by no means like a simple process. You need to use a lot of brain power to come up with all of this stuff and you need to feed it a lot of data. But can you tell like when did we start this Claude Code project and how quickly can you usually spin up these new features, new advancements?
Yeah, so the hype started like somewhere, I would say, end of December, start of January. Mm-hmm. I saw on LinkedIn people went crazy about using Claude Code. And there were like the messages which weren't too frequent. But then when I saw like every, I don't know, third person from GTM space posting about it, I decided like, come on, Harri, that's our time. We need to do something.
Yeah.
So we started basically by setting up, I would say, the basics. And what you need to focus on is like Claude MD, which is like the master file with all of the knowledge and skills you are building. So you need to make sure you have it in place. It's like the memory, and you need to constantly update it.
Okay.
One thing which really helped, at least me when I was starting out, is to enable the so-called plan mode.
Mm-hmm.
So Claude is very good at helping you, let's say, build the plan on which it will later execute as well. So always, if you don't know what you want to kind of build or how you want to build it, enable the plan mode, explain the task, and then Claude will come up with a couple of solutions. And so then you can choose the one which is the most optimal for you.
Yeah.
That's how I would start at least.
Okay, nice. And did you say, I don't remember, did we start in like January, February?
I would say mid-January, that's where.
Mid-January.
Yeah.
And we're already kind of pretty far with it at the moment.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I would say each agency should, or even like a normal company, should enable their people to start using it. I would even say if you have a normal working day of 8 hours, at least 1 hour per day should go into Claude Code building.
No, that is quite the investment in time.
Yes.
But at least per what we have seen, the return on investment on using Claude Code to optimize processes is always worth taking. Right?
Yeah, has been sick. And you also mentioned this question, like how quickly you can start. You can start within like 10 minutes of setup. And then after a couple of hours of like playing around, trying different modes, you would be already, I would say, above like 80% of the people. So
yeah. And the good thing about kind of Claude Code is many people have come to me and asked like, hey, how can I start using it?
Yeah.
You don't need to watch any YouTube tutorials. You don't need to do any of that. You can just go to Claude Code and ask it to like, how can I improve this? Like, what should I do? What should I focus on? And it will come up with some plans, some suggestions, and it will always come up with the execution plan as well. And then you just ask it to execute, and that's it.
Exactly.
All right. So Claude Code is, of course, like one thing. It's been probably the biggest topic since we last talked about.
Yeah.
But if we go back to the basics, like the basic GTM world, is there something, some change that you have seen there in the GTM world?
Yes, I would say that some of the changes would be definitely about like how people approach, I would say, the writing the copy. And basically the approach was, when I was discussing with Frank from Salesforce, it was signal-based outreach versus like carpet bombarding, when you don't try to leverage signals too much and you just focus on like the crafting a good offer, right?
Yeah.
I saw this being a really big topic nowadays. For me personally, I think it's like there is no one correct way of doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Both, I would say, carpet bombarding and as well as the signal-based outreach can work. Yeah. And in some cases, it can not work.
Yeah.
I don't know what's your take on this, but...
Yeah, I agree. I think that for each case, like each client, there is a time and place for signals, but there's also a time and place for more, let's say, broad campaigns that just leverage a good offer, right?
Yeah,
I see the value of offers being more and more important. And the good thing with AI is that you can send pretty personalized offers, right?
Yep.
But since kind of the beginning of GTM, I would assume that the inboxes of decision makers are being hit 5 to 10x more.
Yep.
Right? So it means that the market is saturated. Your email inbox, your LinkedIn DMs are getting full of messages. And in this world, to stand out, it doesn't it's not enough to have a good copy message with a good value proposition.
Yep.
But you need to offer some carrot that makes saying yes very easy, right?
Yep.
And that's where the offers come in, right?
For sure.
So for all the people thinking about like, how can I make my outbound more efficient? It is basically by focusing on the offer. Make your offer super good. And you can even make an offer that is kind of hard to scale. And once you start seeing traction with that offer, you come up with a way to make it more scalable, because that should be your focus point at that moment.
Definitely.
If you come up with a way to build pipeline in a sustainable manner, even if it takes manual work, then you just double down on building that feature, automating it so that you can scale it, because that's what is bringing you clients through the door.
Yeah.
Right?
That's kind of like the playbook you can build.
Yeah.
Also, one more thing to the offers and like copy in general, what we've noticed, like super short copies are getting, I would say, traction again.
Yeah. What about the differentiation between email-only campaigns versus LinkedIn-only campaigns versus campaigns using both LinkedIn and mail simultaneously? What do you see?
Yeah, I would say depends on, your targeting. So sometimes we target e-com guys. There are like tens of thousands of decision makers there, which all fall under one category. For example, brand is making over, 7 figures per year. Then I would say email only will still work fine, because you need quick volume. You need to kind of get quick results.
Yeah.
However, if you want to make a bit more dedicated tests, I would say 1 to 2K prospects per campaign. Multi-channel is the way to go.
Yeah. Is this based on some data point? Do you think so? Or have you kind of seen this in the real world?
I can confirm, based on the results we are seeing across our clients, that multi-channel campaigns are like outperforming pure LinkedIn or pure email by like miles.
Yeah, I actually yesterday was asked by one client to kind of make a breakdown of the results until now.
Yeah.
And their total addressable market is definitely not huge. It's about, I would say, 2.5K companies, each having a few decision makers we can target. And we've been running them email-only campaigns.
Yeah.
We've been running them multi-channel campaigns and LinkedIn campaigns. And the multi-channel campaigns are, if you look at the statistics, they are the best.
Yeah.
However, if you look at the response rates across different channels for this specific client, it is LinkedIn has been by far the best performing channel in terms of response rates. So for example, if we send the exactly same email for the exactly same decision maker, and then we send the exact same message in LinkedIn.
Okay.
So we kind of treat these touch points separately, but we still have it as a multi-channel campaign.
Yeah.
We just assume that they have not, for example, seen the email, even if they have, and we double down on the same value proposition and send it via LinkedIn. The response rate over LinkedIn is about 10 times higher. 10 times. So if we get like a, let's say, 2% to 2.5 to 3% reply rate on the email.
Yep.
If we send the same message over LinkedIn, it's like 20% to 30% reply rate.
It's not even like something crazy. I mean, that's what we've seen basically.
Yeah.
Very true.
And that is just a quick tip for everybody to try out.
Yeah.
And what it means in terms of campaign strategy is that for some clients, you need to treat every single touch point as a first, right? Even if you run multi-channel campaigns, you want to make sure that kind of the value proposition is visible in every given touch point, because you want to make sure that they see your core message, right?
Yeah.
And of course, in our case, the advantage we have against many other agencies is that we can also offer cold calling, right? And that also offers us some interesting statistics. So let's say that we have a 3% reply rate over email. We have a 25% reply rate over LinkedIn. When we add cold calling internationally with local cold callers to the mix, the ratio gets even much better.
Yeah.
Maybe not in terms of the reply rate, because let's say if you have a 25% reply rate to phone calls, that is crazy.
Yeah, that's almost impossible.
That's impossible for depending on the market. For example, in US, we see around a 3% response rates from phone calls.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
If you're lucky, yeah. So, but if we get the people on the line, then the ratio of getting a booked meeting is, of course, higher because you can tackle all the objections live in the actual moment.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of the future of GTM, where it is going, it's going to from multi-channel to kind of all-bound approach.
Yeah.
So if you're really, really, really serious about entering new markets, you probably want to have the kind of holy trinity, which includes sending emails, sending LinkedIn messages, but also cold calling at least the top prospects.
Definitely. If you like nail down those basics, you would be definitely good.
Yeah.
And then when it starts working, you could also focus on some other interesting plays. For example, Clay added now ads, which is something we're going to discuss as well. So for example, you could target your ICP with ads on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
As well as, for example, what Frank mentioned when we talked, he mentioned about outbound led inbound.
Oh, what is that?
So yeah, it's basically you, for example, have an online event or webinar, and you just send the link to register to each and every single ICP.
No, okay.
Yeah, and that's how you can kind of get them into your inbound motion. So basically, you say, hey, I'm hosting this webinar about, for example, I don't know, AI in manufacturing. I think you might find this interesting. Here is the link if you want to join. And if this person actually joins and they look at it at least for 30 to 40% of the whole duration, Frank told me that there is a big chance they will sign up, for example, to your platform or they will buy from you.
Amazing. That's a great idea.
Yeah. So basically, if we want to run a webinar someday, instead of just purely posting about it on LinkedIn, what we'll do, of course, is that we'll find, 2K people which we think could benefit from it and who could also buy from us.
Yeah.
And we'll send them the message with the invitation.
Okay. So just would this be also including the link, just sending the link? Do we need to build a separate infrastructure for this because we don't want to burn deliverability? Or
I would do it honestly on LinkedIn just from our accounts.
Oh,
so if we
LinkedIn.
could leverage, for example, 5 people from Strongest Group, we could just send it to hundreds of people weekly.
Yeah, amazing. That's I love that idea.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll do it.
Okay, so basically a few words, kind of the GTM future. We've doubled down on AI. We've doubled down on automatizing the processes. There's also been this, I wouldn't say competitor, but a supplementing solution to Claude Code, which is OpenClaw.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that topic?
Yeah, we can talk about OpenClaw as well. So basically, why OpenClaw has become some sort of meta nowadays is because it's completely free. You can just go to GitHub, you can install it again on your laptop and just run it. So basically it's an, I would say, autonomous AI assistant which can go and get access to your CRM, calendar, Slack, and can do whatever repetitive tasks you've been doing yourself. It can be purely automate by using the OpenClaw.
Yeah. A few interesting use cases. We at the GTM unit haven't really doubled down on OpenClaw yet because we feel that most of the things that we are building can be run through Claude Code at the moment.
Yeah.
However, at the company broader level, what we've started doing and one of our RevOps engineers, Joona, has been building is this incredible prospecting system. Because we have around 70 cold callers, we need to have fresh lead databases, including phone numbers to each cold caller on a daily basis. And we need to renew those lists and make sure that they're accurate. He built a bot under OpenClaw to do autonomous prospecting. And the only thing you need to give this bot is basically either a company level list, and then just tell, hey, we need to find these people, these titles for these companies. And what it starts doing, it just goes to the internet. It uses all the local Finnish databases. It uses tools like Prospeo, among others, to find first the correct decision makers, but also then finding the contact details for them. And now it's built under Slack. So anybody in the company just can go basically and ask for a new prospect list, and it comes up in, 10 minutes with a fresh data set, which you can give to cold callers. So that is like an incredible use case that is making the overall company just much more efficient.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, honestly. I mean, I saw the hype about OpenClaw in like other industries as well.
Yeah.
But I think like for GTM, for prospecting, this will be also something we'll be leveraging as well, more for our work. And also what is important to mention, I would say, is that we saw this trend of people buying like Mac Minis to run OpenClaw. And this is the idea basically, which I also want to kind of deliver to our audience, is that there are some risks also when it comes to the confidentiality and like security risks. So what you don't want to give it access to is some really like vulnerable data, which might like suddenly get leaked or used in some other, let's say, sources.
Yeah.
So what you want to do always is, for OpenClaw at least, you want to get a separate device and have a really small set of installed apps and data which you feed it, instead of running it on your like normal work laptop. Because it can get really, I would say, dangerous.
Yeah, and also I think it also can get pretty expensive. I've seen people burning through credits, burning through a lot of stuff with OpenClaw. But for sure, like data security, adhering to all the legislation is like very important when you're using these tools.
Yeah.
Like having a completely private infrastructure for these devices and letting them access to only materials that you can actually give them access to, right?
Exactly. I also heard in the news that China apparently banned like OpenClaw from like governmental offices.
Really?
Yeah. And basically, I would say this might be like a signal that the enterprises, at least, they wouldn't adopt OpenClaw in the nearest future. But for players like ourselves who really want to get as AI native as possible, I think that's a great opportunity to kind of outperform all of those big players on the market.
Yeah, I agree. All right, then going back to the one tool that rules them all, Clay, which we pitched very strongly in our last podcast as well. And we still are pitching and still using Clay like a lot.
Of course.
What has happened in regards to Clay since we last spoke?
Yeah, that's a topic that might also deserve a separate podcast episode. But to just talk about it, let's say, without stretching too much, is that on March 11th, Clay introduced their new pricing.
Okay.
And basically what it means is that the old credit system was only based on, let's say, your enrichments which you're doing. So you were only charged by the enrichments you do. For example, finding the email address or doing some web research with Clayagent.
Yeah.
But right now, there is like a two-tier system, credit system, meaning that you have data credits and actions.
Okay.
So data credits, of course, is responsible for the data, which means emails, phone numbers, whatever you're looking for. However, actions is sort of whatever thing or action which you're performing inside the platform.
Okay, so for example, if I used a Serper API call to fetch Google Maps information, would that still cost even though I'm using a third-party tool?
Yes, exactly. That's the biggest hit. So even if you, for example, don't use the direct integration, for example, between Clay and some tool, and you bring your own tools, and of course you need to connect them through the API, this now would be charged, let's say, as one action. So per one run, per one like particular cell, you're going to be charged one action credit.
Okay, what does this mean for agencies like ours that are running, first of all, a lot of credits and a lot of clients? And I would definitely say we're probably one of the biggest power users, at least in the Nordic level. So what does this mean for us?
So first of all, I really don't blame Clay for anything. They have been very consistent and very transparent about the changes in the pricing, right? So it's been done pretty well, in my opinion. However, for me, like as a person working in the agency, it feels like that they're slightly trying to push out the agencies and focus more on bringing like enterprise clients. So for example, one Clay account would be dedicated to one particular company. Just so you understand, the majority of Clay agencies, they have one big shared Clay workspace. It's mostly like a pro plan where you have 50K credits, and they've been running, let's say, the GTM for, let's say, 10, 15, 20 clients by just leveraging one workspace.
Yeah.
And that's something we've been doing as well. However, right now with the new pricing and new credit system, it feels like we can't do this anymore.
Yeah. So if you were to choose between the new model or the old model, you would stick to the old model.
Yeah, I would stick to the old model, and happily, we can still use the legacy pricing and credit system. So they don't push the old users to kind of change the model, which I really appreciate. But from the other hand, you never know when they will stop allowing you doing that.
Yeah. So basically, I can give you an example why agencies might be hit by this.
Yeah.
We have one client, for example, that is entering the US. And we need to find them a lot of local businesses, right?
Yeah.
And they have hundreds of thousands of local businesses that they can get in touch with from the US. And using the old model, what we could do is build a Serper integration and then scrape Google Maps on a state-by-state level with keywords that would identify the ICP companies from Google Maps, right?
Yeah.
And we could do this on a mass and build a list of, like, I don't know how many companies ended up in that list, but probably like 75,000 companies.
Yeah, at least.
At least 75,000 companies. And it took us 0 credits. And then what we did on the next step was using a OpenAI integration with our own API keys was to enrich that list of 75,000 companies with scraping their website for phone numbers, emails, decision maker data, among other things. And that cost us, I don't know, it probably cost us like $200 in OpenAI credits, but that's it. And we spent on total 0 Clay credits to do all of that, right?
Exactly.
But of course, we're still using the Pro plan, and we're in some cases used also kind of the Clay gens, like Helium, Argon, or any other tool, because those are just very capable AI agents, right? But now, if we try to do that, it would easily burn through all of the kind of actions of the new system.
Yeah.
It would be completely unviable for us to do this for a similar kind of client. It would burn it in days through the whole system. Right?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people are saying that 40K credits, which is now included in the Pro plan, is more or less one really good Clay table.
Yeah.
And imagine if you need to build 10 Clay tables for 10 different clients.
Yeah.
So does it mean that I have to pay 10x more?
Yeah. So do you think that more companies will now end up going to the enterprise plan? Or do you think that the new plans that they have are suitable for most use cases?
I mean, Clay themselves, they kind of admitted that they are expecting at least 10% loss of revenue because of this new update.
Okay.
What I think, at least from the agency standpoint, I mean, I'm just giving you some sauce, but basically what we are planning to do is pretty much diversify.
Yeah.
So it's good if you you can put all of the eggs into one basket as long as the basket is reliable.
Yeah.
However, when it becomes unreliable or it is at risk, like in our case, you definitely want to kind of diversify.
Yeah. In terms of the pricing and everything, I mean, what Clay did is that they decreased the pricing of other things while in kind of revamping the whole pricing system. So for example, data costs went down by 50 to 90%. So for companies that are purely looking for data in terms of emails and phone numbers and so on, those costs are now smaller, right?
Yeah.
But if you need to do a lot of enrichments, if you need to do a lot of scoring, if you need to do a lot of research on each specific company that you have on a list, those costs have gone up by a lot.
Yeah.
Also, using third-party tools, that cost has gone up hugely because now you need to pay those, first of all, in the third-party tool that you're using.
Yep.
And then you also need to pay those actions inside Clay. So you're kind of double spending on those. And I think what this kind of changes is the landscape of for whom is Clay a good tool and for which use cases. Because if anything, this is changing the use case of Clay, right?
Yeah.
The pricing is just compelling people to behave in certain ways.
Yeah.
That being said, we will of course use Clay in the future as well, but we will definitely keep the existing plans we have on the old model and try to even scale that bigger, right?
Yeah. Yeah, one solution which we've been thinking about is, for example, if you are the agency, what you could do is you would say to the client on the sales call that they should cover the Clay license. So that's the fee they have to pay.
Yeah.
As one of the solution. And I would say this is pretty fair because a lot of clients, for example, even if they leave you, but they are serious about the business, right, and developing their GTM motion, they would still want to keep the Clay license and then start using it internally.
Yeah. What about kind of by fact, like there's always competition in every industry.
Yeah.
Like agencies have so much competition and Clay has been kind of like we've told before, like the one tool to rule them all.
Yeah.
But I think this will open up the doors for multiple competitors that will be geared towards agencies. Because they see that there's a huge marketplace working with companies like ours. Are there any viable options for GTM work other than Clay?
Yeah. So, of course, first, I would say you can always build something inside Claude Code. It wouldn't be 100% replacement for Clay, and it would be stupid to say so. However, it's a viable option for some sort of things which you've been doing inside Clay. For example, like even scraping the Google Maps, for example.
Yeah.
You can now do it independently inside Claude Code, and it works awesome.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to Clay-like tools, two tools have been on my mind, like BitScale and DataBar.
Okay.
I haven't explored them personally too much, but it seems like their pricing and the way the credit system works is slightly more favorable towards the agencies.
Yeah, that is interesting indeed.
Yeah, so definitely something to explore. However, so far, if Clay doesn't push us to change the pricing model, like switch to the new one, and if we can keep using it the way it is, I'm more than happy to do it. However, it's just important to kind of do this pulse check and be aware that there are some changes happening.
Sure. Okay. So let's go to the next topic, which is just kind of the excitement around GTM overall.
Yeah.
Right. So like GTM, when we spoke last time, was a huge upcoming topic, and it still is.
Yeah.
And the salaries are going up, and it's the skills of Clay users are increasing as well, and like GTM engineers are increasing as well.
Yeah.
Do you see that the GTM engineer role has changed a lot during the last times? And where do you see our role going towards the future?
Yeah. My biggest prediction for this year, with the come up of the tools like Claude Code and OpenClaw, is definitely not just orchestration of the GTM systems, but rather orchestration of AI agents.
Okay.
So everything which has been done automatically, manually, right?
Yeah.
That's how I'm thinking about it. I want everything to be automated as much as possible. So everything which was done manually should be done as much as possible automatically. And basically, you can sort of, let's say, productize the whole fulfillment process. And so if you have, for example, infrastructure bot, you have copy and offer bot, you have like dashboard bot, you have the analytics bot. You can easily go to any company and say that I can implement those AI agents and I can show your people who are responsible for sales how it works. So with the help of those bots, you can scale your sales and scale your GTM motion much faster.
Okay. So basically, if I'm hearing you correctly, kind of, you still have these agencies that are stuck in the past.
Yeah.
And they're still doing everything manually.
Yeah.
And then you have agencies like ours that are really doubling down on the usage of AI, like really trying to automatize everything. And some clients and some companies might be scared about all the uses of AI.
Yep.
So if I hear you correctly about the benefits of choosing a AI native GTM agency would be the following. First of all, the time for execution has decreased a lot.
The biggest one, yes.
You can get an agency that is able to produce you so much more in such a less time. The next thing is the kind of systematic approach for GTM.
Yep.
Because in order for automatization and everything being automated to work, you need to have a systematic approach. You need to follow systemic thinking. Every single process needs to be mapped out.
Yeah.
And if you choose a AI native agency, you know that these guys have been pushing the process thinking to a next level.
For sure.
So you know what to expect in every single stage of the GTM work. And the next thing is kind of the utilization of data, but also the iteration and feedback loops. So not only can we execute quicker, but we can push more volume, more campaigns live in a shorter time span.
For sure.
And that is kind of a cumulative effect. If you get an agency that can push more variations, more campaigns out in a shorter time, that then can be used as a feedback loop to further enhance the AI models.
Definitely.
So either you choose a company that is still doing everything manually, or you choose a client or like a GTM agency that it has automated all of this. And from my perspective, all of these are like huge bonuses.
For sure.
But of course, nothing is perfect. One kind of negative touch point could be that if we over leverage AI, then the copy everything could start looking like the same copy.
Yeah.
Right? If it has like this reinforcing loop behind it. That being said, like it's not like we automatize everything. Like we still take a look at the copy, try to add some creativity there to make it as human as possible. And yeah, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think on your last note, what we've been developing, at least trying to develop, is like the playbooks, which wouldn't be, let's say, dependent on the client, but rather they would be, let's say, ultimate in a way that we have, for example, the playbook for events. So let's say event outreach. Basically, if, as we discussed, someone's going or like visiting the event, we could reach out to them and suggest them like having a coffee chat during the event.
Yeah,
this is something which is independent of the client will work, because we know this playbook I mean, people are more eager to meet. I mean, what's the whole point of going to some event? It's like to meet new people, try to make business, find new connections, etc.
Yeah.
So we know this will work. And basically, if we have a playbook which would, for each client, identify the top events where they would go, it would automatically find the people who will be attending and will craft a universal message. I mean, why wouldn't it work, right?
Sure. And also, okay, let's add some additional sauce here.
Okay.
What if we would take it a step further and do social listening on every single person that mentions that event on LinkedIn?
Yes.
And based on that mention of, hey, I'm attending this event, send a message like, hey, by the way, saw you're attending it. Me too. Would you want to have a short discussion about solving problem Y? Right?
Yeah.
And there's kind of many things you can build, many kinds of playbooks in the future.
Exactly. Then, of course, the next thing, for example, is competitor followers playbook.
Yeah.
So what it does automatically identifies top 5 competitors of our client, finds their audience on LinkedIn, finds the right, let's say, job titles we want to target, and scrapes only the ones which we want to talk to.
Nice.
And more so, it does the research and identifies why our client would be better than the tool which those people are currently using. So it can spin up the copy in a way which would highlight why we are better and suggest, let's say, to have a discussion about it, basically.
Amazing. I think our time will start to run dry soon.
Yep.
But I'll just give a few remarks about the future of AI, the future of GTM. But kind of the thesis is that the usage of AI will only get bigger.
Yep.
And that's across everything, not only GTM, but every single process, every single business will use AI more. So you need to build your business towards that inevitable future. That is kind of one thesis. The second thesis is that the competition is increasing a lot. So the kind of inboxes and GTM has grown so much, and so many companies can push so much more volume out that you need to be able to separate yourself from others in some ways.
Yeah.
In our case, it is just trying to build these feedback loops, but also introducing cold calling into the mix, which is something that is much more hard to scale.
For sure.
So do some things that cannot scale manually. That's one of the points that I have. But the third is that product distribution will be the mode of the future because anybody can now start building applications with a very low threshold.
Yeah.
You can build apps, you can build design, you can build brands, you can build solutions, you can do all of this using AI, which means that the amount of solutions in the market will increase. But the difficulty of getting those products out there is also increasing.
Yeah.
So if you can be able to distribute your products, distribute your value proposition with high scale in a systematic process, I believe that's the mode of the future. And I think that's where professional and high-level GTM agencies will kind of focus on.
Definitely.
And that being said, I want to thank you, Clip, first of all, for coming back to Helsinki and
Absolutely.
Building these kick-ass solutions for us. And I want to thank the audience. It was a very nice time talking about GTM again.
Always a pleasure.
Maybe the next discussion will be around summertime, when it's a little bit warmer and hopefully sunny outside. So.
Yeah. So the last note, try to use AI, try to implement it, and you'll outproduce the competition.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.